First, they cry censorship.
सत्यजीत रे की भूमि में एक फिल्म मेकर की आवाज को दबाया जा रहा है. Do you guys agree as a media?
And then they cry threats.
तो वेस्ट बंगाल में जो रूलिंग पार्टी है टीएमसी, उनके मेंबर्स ने हर जिले हर मोहल्ले में जाके हमारे खिलाफ एफआईआर फाइल करनी चालू की.
And in the end, they sell tickets. That, say the critics, is the new formula of India's Files franchise. Tashkent Files, Kashmir Files, Udaipur Files, and now more recently the Bengal Files. A string of films that retell history through the lens of Hindu victimhood. Now, interestingly, they don't just tell you the story of Hindu victimhood, but Muslims are the villains in this equation. And the filmmakers, almost as if on cue, slip into the role of the victim themselves.
कौन है जो हमारे पीछे पड़े हुए हैं, ये आप सब इसका जवाब जानते हैं. हमारे ऊपर मल्टीपल एफआईआर लॉन्च की गई हैं. हम लोग रोज सिर्फ लॉयर्स के साथ लड़ाई लड़ते हैं कि किस तरह से उस पर स्टे लिया जाए. हमारा ट्रेलर कल जो हम यहाँ पहुंचे तो जाने के बाद पता चला कि यहाँ जो मल्टीप्लेक्स चेन है वहां पे मना कर दिया गया उसको चलाने से. आज ये प्राइवेट होटल है, बैंक्वेट हॉल में आपने कब पहली बार सुना था कि चलते हुए प्रोग्राम को रोका जाए?
In the high-stakes arena of Bollywood's history films, directors like Vivek Agnihotri are masters of blending fact with fiction, not just on screen but also in their PR playbook. Their latest trick? Playing the perpetual victim to hype movies that critics slam as propaganda machines, stoking Hindutva fires.
History cannot be erased, but nor can it be rewritten. You can't overwrite history.
कौन सा पॉलिटिकल चश्मा से हम लोग को देख के ये बता रहे हैं जो हम लोग टीएमसी में काम करते हैं, टीएमसी का होके हम लोग काम करते हैं.
Vivek Agnihotri's films, they are neither aesthetically engrossing nor factually correct.
So it is a very distorted, unilinear version of history which he was portraying with a definite political motive.
For argument's sake, take Vivek Agnihotri's upcoming film, The Bengal Files, which almost as if drags out the ghost of Gopal Mukherjee, aka Gopal Pata, from the bloody chaos of 1946's Direct Action Day. Is it a genuine quest for suppressed truth, as Vivek Agnihotri has claimed? Gopal Chandra Mukherjee depicted by Agnihotri as a heroic defender in a Hindu genocide, complete with blood-soaked trailers. But even his own family isn't buying it. His grandson, Shantanu Mukherjee, has filed an FIR accusing Agnihotri of twisting history into hate propaganda. According to the family, Gopal Mukherjee sheltered innocent Muslims during the riots and fought only in self-defense.
गोपाल मुखर्जी का जो कैरेक्टर है वहाँ चिटफाड़ किया गया है, उसको विकृत करके दिखाया गया है. जो आदमी रेवोल्यूशनरी बैकग्राउंड से आ रहा है, जो फ्रीडम फाइटर मूवमेंट में जिसका महत्वपूर्ण योगदान है, तो आप उसको संबोधित कर रहे हो कि वो एक कसाई थे, कलकत्ता में एक कसाई था. ये एक हिस्ट्री है, इसको मैं काट नहीं सकता हूँ, इसके ऊपर मैं कलम नहीं चला सकता हूँ. ये मुस्लिम लीग द्वारा ही परिचालित किया गया है. सबसे बड़ा बात है, हम लोग का इस मोहल्ला में मोहम्मद रफ़ीक बोल के एक आदमी है जो वो हैंड पुल रिक्शा चलाती है. 14 से 15 दिन हम लोग का घर का ऊपर में उसको रखा गया था. जिस टाइम दंगा चल रहा था उसको खिलाया पिलाया गया है. जब ये परिस्थिति स्वाभाविक हुआ है, उनको उतार के, वो बिहार का रहने वाले हैं, उनको यहाँ से उनको टिकट दे के, उनका साथ में एक तो आदमी दे के उसको घर भिजवाया गया है. चांदनी में हम लोग का मोहल्ला में ही पड़ता है, चांदनी चौक. उस टाइम में 46 में भी मोहम्मदन लोग था और अभी भी है. अगर वह मुस्लिम हेटर थे तो ये सब कैसे होता? उनका ये प्रोटेक्शन जो है, ये 46 का दंगा जो है, ये दंगा को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए वो लोकल बोलिए, हम लोग का बाहर का बोलिए, ऑल प्रोविंस था, बंगाली था, बिहारी था, उड़िया था, पंजाबी था, उसमें कुछ आपका नेपाली भी था, सबको इकट्ठा किया. देश ये संकटमय परिस्थिति में आया है. इस परिस्थिति में फिर से हम लोग को एक्टिव होना पड़ेगा. लड़का लोग को हथियार भी हाथ में उठा के दिया, लेकिन वो हथियार उठाने का बाद उनका प्रिंसिपल यही था कि जो दंगाई है, जो आपको तलवार लेके या डंडा लेके मारने वाले है आ रहा है, उसी के ऊपर ये हथियार का प्रयोग करोगे। कोई भी अगर मुस्लिम हो जो रास्ता में फल बेच रहा है, ठेला चला रहा है, रिक्शा चला रहा है, कोई भी लेडीज़ या ओल्ड एज होगा, बच्चा होगा, मुस्लिम हो, उसका एक बाल भी बांका नहीं होना चाहिए। इससे क्या ये साबित होता है वो क्या मुस्लिम लोग को ही मारे हैं? उनका हर धर्म का ऊपर सम्मान था, हर धर्म को वो सम्मान करते थे। हम लोग कोई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी से बिलोंग नहीं करते हैं, ना टीएमसी, ना बीजेपी, ना कांग्रेस, ना सीपीएम। कोई भी पार्टी का हम लोग का मेंबरशिप है नहीं। अगर वो पॉलिटिकल चश्मा पहन के देख रहा है, जैसे हम लोग हमारा फैमिली से ये जगह हम लोग प्रतिवाद किए हैं, प्रोटेस्ट किए हैं, तो वो अपना माने हम लोग को पता नहीं। मैं भी ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि आप कौन सा पॉलिटिकल चश्मा से हम लोग को देख के ये बता रहे हैं जो हम लोग टीएमसी में काम करते हैं, टीएमसी का हो के हम लोग काम करते हैं? ऐसा कोई प्रूफ आप लोग के पास है? आप विकृत करोगे हमारा दादाजी को, हम लोग जान के हम लोग चुप बैठेंगे?
It's not just him. Look at the Udaipur Files producer Amit Jani, who spun threats into a sympathy saga.
साथियों, उदयपुर पुलिस ने मोहम्मद शाहिद नाम के एक व्यक्ति को गिरफ्तार किया है। जिस हॉस्पिटल में मैं भर्ती था उदयपुर के, उस हॉस्पिटल के 400-600 मीटर दूर पे शाहिद जो है टिफिन के जरिए हॉस्पिटल में कुछ भिजवाना चाहता था मेरे वार्ड तक। अब वो क्या भिजवाना चाहता था? क्या टिफिन बम भिजवाना चाहता था? क्योंकि संकट मोचन में जो फटा था, कुकर बम फटा था। तो मोहम्मद शाहिद नाम के व्यक्ति को गिरफ्तार किया गया है उदयपुर पुलिस, राजस्थान पुलिस के द्वारा, जो कल रात को ही गिरफ्तार किया है, जो मेरे वार्ड में, जहाँ मैं आइसोलेशन वार्ड में था, वहाँ कुछ भिजवाना चाहता था। निश्चित रूप से मुझे हार्म करना चाहता था और हमला करने की फिराक में था। और जब वो ऐसा कर रहा था तो एक साथी है उसका बांग्लादेश का, जिसका नाम हमाद है, वो उसको उकसा रहा था कि टिफ़िन बम या टिफ़िन जो है वो मोर एक्सपेंसिव है, अमित जानी के लिए एक शार्प चाकू लेके जाओ, और शार्प चाकू आई थिंक अमित जानी के लिए काफ़ी है।
While cozying up to the BJP bigwigs, playing the, well, you guessed it right, the victim card yet again. Some might even say that these filmmakers enjoy covert, if not outright patronage from the ruling party, with even Prime Minister Narendra Modi stepping in to endorse their narratives. Prime Minister Narendra Modi previously endorsed Vivek Agnihotri's The Kashmir Files, calling it the truth suppressed for years.
और जो लोग हमेशा फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन के झंडे लेकर के घूमते हैं, वो पूरी जमात बौखला गई है पिछले 5-6 दिन से। और ये फिल्म का तथ्यों के आधार पर, आर्ट के आधार पर उसकी विवेचना करने के बजाय उसको डिस्क्रेडिट करने के लिए एक बड़ा मुहिम चलाया। आपने देखा होगा, एक पूरी इकोसिस्टम कोई सत्य उजागर करने का साहस करे, उसको जो सत्य लगा उसने प्रस्तुत करने की कोशिश की, लेकिन उस सत्य को न समझने की तैयारी, न स्वीकारने की तैयारी है, न ही दुनिया इसको देखे इसके लिए उनकी मंजूरी है। जिस प्रकार का षड्यंत्र पिछले 5-6 दिन से चल रहा है। मेरा विषय कोई फिल्म नहीं है, मेरा विषय है कि जो सत्य है उसको सही स्वरूप में देश के सामने लाना देश की भलाई के लिए होता है।
On the other hand, another film directed by Vivek Agnihotri, The Vaccine War, Modi doubled down.
मैंने सुना है आजकल एक मूवी आई है, एक फिल्म आई है, द वैक्सीन वॉर। वैक्सीन वॉर नाम की फिल्म आई है। मैंने सुना है कि भारत में कोविड से लड़ाई लड़ने के लिए हमारे देश के वैज्ञानिकों ने जो रात दिन मेहनत की, अपनी लैब में एक ऋषि की तरह साधना की, और उसमें हमारी महिला वैज्ञानिकों ने भी अद्भुत काम किया। उन सारी बातों को एक बढ़िया तरीके से वैक्सीन वॉर फिल्म अभी जो आई है, शायद इसी सप्ताह आई है, उसमें इसको दर्शाया गया है।
His endorsement translates not just to box office success, but an ideological traction.
See, if I look at the way in which history has been reconstructed for film, there are some which are interesting and others which are propaganda. And if you ask me, then in the last 15 years or so, we've seen a lot of these propaganda films, about 20 or so according to one film critic that I was reading. Now, 20 or so of such propaganda films is a large number. These are films which, it doesn't matter about the quality of the film, the critical quality of the film, none of this matters. What matters is that there are bits of this content which can be sliced and diced, and they feed into a narrative. And the narrative belongs to a particular political party, which is the BJP. And how do we know that there is this connect between the two? Because all these films, if you realize, have been strongly advocated by the BJP and the BJP's IT cell, and they have become part of local political campaigns. If it's a propaganda film for a particular purpose, timed for a particular event, then you have to spice it up. And let us be very clear, this binary of the Hindu versus the Muslim, the timid Hindu who needs to turn muscular and militant versus the aggressive Muslim, the terrorist as it were, all of this has been playing out now for decades. And almost 2 generations of people have grown up within that period. 2 generations of voters have grown up within that period. And therefore, I think, the purpose of these films, the kind of circulation they have on social media, reflects this 30-year time frame that we are talking about, when more and more and more people have been sucked in. At the same time, the 2024 election results tell us that not everyone has been sucked in. The majority of India has not been sucked in. So this is a political fight which is going on. It's a no-holds-barred fight. People like Vivek Agnihotri are doing extreme damage to cinema, to freedom of expression, by making film into a vehicle for propaganda on the one hand, and then expecting the state, in other words, the President of India, the Prime Minister, and all these other people, the state a party to protecting them. In other words, what they are actually telling us is very, very dangerous, which is that there is only one truth, and we are telling you that one truth. Accept it or else. And that is dangerous. That's not freedom of expression at all. It is an assault, albeit indirect, on the way in which we should be allowed to think, because freedom of thought is also a part of freedom of expression, and that is exactly what they are trying to capture.
All propaganda films are bad. No, it's your right that to if you want to make a publicity for a particular group or particular political party, particular brand, so you must be honest to your audience that look, I am speaking in favor of them. I am speaking in favor of Bolshevik party, which Eisenstein, Ziga-Vertov, Soviet propaganda filmmakers, they did. They directly told, there was nothing to conceal, that they were very open, they were very honest about the fact that they are making propaganda in favor of Bolshevik party and Soviet revolution. The other kind of propagandas, that almost, same time or in 1930s, made in Germany. The filmmakers were trying to conceal their, connection with Nazi party. Look, Eisenstein never concealed his connection with Lenin. Eisenstein never concealed his connection with Lunacharsky. But Leni Riefenstahl, who is known as the epitome of Nazi propaganda, she, in the Nuremberg trial, consistently denied that she at all had any connection with Goebbels and Hitler. But there were many evidences that she was assigned to make a film, Nazi propaganda film, directly by Goebbels and Hitler. Right. So that is the difference. One can make publicity for anybody. No problem. But he or she must be honest that I am working for that party. Should not claim that that is history. Right. What Vivek Agnihotri continuously in his film career is doing, that trying to pretend that he is making film from neutral point of view. But is he neutral? In a nutshell, I want to tell a story that first film which was banned in India was Neel Akasher Niche by Mrinal Sen. In a time when Indo-China relationship was getting strained, Mrinal Sen made this film, released this film, which tells a story of a Chinese vendor in Kolkata, poor Chinese vendor in Kolkata. So the film was first banned by Film Certification Board, and then in Parliament the issue was raised by a very famous orator, Hirendranath Mukherjee, in Parliament, and that addressing Hirendranath Mukherjee's address in Parliament, the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru intervened, and the ban on the film was lifted immediately. Right. So it depends who is our Prime Minister. Right. The Prime Minister whose patron he or she is, that tells many things to us.
Filmmaker Vivek Agnihotri insists that it is the duty of Hindus to educate future generations about August 16, 1946, that is, the Direct Action Day. His film claims to expose a genocide of Hindus allegedly erased from history books, but critics argue the film oversimplifies the 1946 riots, turning complex socio-political tensions into a two-dimensional morality play. The trailer, packed with graphic violence, has been slammed for sensationalism, ignoring crucial nuances like inter-community solidarity during the riots. So the question is, are we seeing the real history, or is it Vivek Agnihotri's exclusive version of it?
Situation was very much charged, and responsibility was definitely on both sides, even on Congress and Muslim League. As a matter of fact, in Calcutta, it was initiated by the Muslim League, but it has a long background to that. So you cannot blame just one party. So just a matter of fact, it happened with a meeting when the call was for a direct action, and then the killing started, and then the retaliation and the whole situation turned into a mess.
A name that has come to the fore is of Gopal Chandra Mukherjee. What do you know about this man who has suddenly come to prominence with this film?
Actually, one should go through Andrew Whitehead's work on Voice of Partition. It's a series of interviews basically. So he interviewed in the late 90s. He talked to Gopal Chandra Mukherjee, then he was alive. And also there is a book by Professor Shuranjan Das, The Gundas, and the underworld, the reconstruction of the underworld of Calcutta. And also we get reference in Utpal Datta's memoir, in Utpal Datta's Towards a Revolutionary Theatre. There is a book called Towards a Revolutionary Theatre. It is a reminiscence of Utpal Datta. So from these sources, what we can get from get about this man, he was a part of the Calcutta underworld. He was a hooligan with his muscle man. He actually acted as a savior of the Hindu community at that time with his muscle men and all. And when Gandhi came to Calcutta and he asked others to surrender arms, he refused because he said, where was Gandhi when the great Calcutta killing was happening? So I am not going to surrender the arms because I saved Hindu men and women with these arms. So he just blatantly refused to do that. In his interview, he said that I just instructed my men not to misbehave with Muslim women. That he clearly stated. Definitely he slaughtered some men of the Muslim community, Muslim attackers.
Not the civilians.
It was not necessarily that he just attacked innocent Muslim men. There is no record of that. At that point of history, everything was in a mess. So whoever is acting, on whose behalf is acting, is very complicated. You cannot say that the saffronization is the only reason for crusading against the Muslims. There is a definite need for self-protection for the Hindu community. So he did that. This is the black years are not the glorious years of Bengal. We have the composite culture. We have our glorious period of fighting together, Hindu-Muslim fighting together against the colonial rulers. That period is not picked up by Vivek Agnihotri. He picked up intentionally that period, which is not a glorious part of Bengal. It is not a glorious history of Bengal. So it is very politically chosen. Bengal definitely has a history of brotherhood, and also Bengal has a history of enmity. It's not unilinear history of brotherhood in Bengal. If it was, then partition would not happen. Would not have happened. So we should go through carefully through the pages of history where we fought together, where we could not. What are the reasons behind that? Both sides have their positive and negative sides, and we actually explained in the class what are the courses of history which made it inevitable, which made partition inevitable. Both parties' responsibility, even Congress and also the Muslim League.
Director Vivek Agnihotri's string of allegations began when a Kolkata multiplex allegedly cancelled their trailer launch of The Bengal Files on 16th August, coinciding with the anniversary of Direct Action Day.
दोस्तों, मैं अभी कलकत्ता पहुंचा हूं। जैसा आप जानते हैं, हमने डिसाइड किया था कि चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, द बंगाल फाइल्स का ट्रेलर हम कोलकाता में लॉन्च करेंगे, क्योंकि ये फिल्म डायरेक्ट एक्शन डे पर बेस्ड है और कल 16 अगस्त है और इससे ज़्यादा उपयुक्त कोई और जगह हो नहीं सकती है। लेकिन मैं जैसे ही यहाँ पहुँचा, मुझे एक बुरी खबर सुनने को मिली, और ख़बर ये है कि हमारा जो ट्रेलर है ये लॉन्च होने वाला था जैसे हर कोई ट्रेलर लॉन्च होता है एक सिनेमा हॉल में, और ये भारत की एक नामचीन बहुत बड़ी सिनेमा हॉल चेन है, और हमारे पास सारी परमिशंस थी, सारा राइटिंग में कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस था, इसीलिए तो हमारी सारी टीम यहाँ कोलकाता आई। लेकिन यहाँ पहुँचते ही साथ मुझे अभी पता चला है कि उस कार्यक्रम को रद्द कर दिया गया है, और वो इसलिए कैंसिल किया गया है, उसकी एक्सक्यूज़ ये दी गई है, जो कि राइटिंग में नहीं, अनऑफिशियली दी जा रही है, कि उनके ऊपर बहुत सारा पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर है और वो किसी भी तरह का पॉलिटिकल टर्मोइल नहीं चाहते हैं, और चूंकि वो यहाँ पे सरवाइव कर सकें इसलिए उनके लिए सही नहीं होगा। मैं उनकी मजबूरी समझता हूँ। कोई भी बिजनेस हाउस क्यों ऐसा काम करेगा जिसके कारण उसको पॉलिटिकली आगे चल के बहुत मुसीबत हो। लेकिन सवाल ये नहीं है, सवाल ये है कि कौन है वो लोग, कौन सा है वो पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर, कौन सी है वो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी जो हमारी आवाज़ को सप्रेस करना चाहती है।
Then he claimed that in spite of having permission, his trailer launch at a private Kolkata hotel was stopped by the police.
The Bengal Files का ट्रेलर यहाँ चलते हुए कलकत्ता में पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर के अंडर, रुकिए, पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर के अंदर पुलिस ने यहाँ पे किया है। सुबह से हजारों पुलिस यहाँ पे है। एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के वर्कर्स क्यों हैं यहाँ पे? एक फिल्म मेकर की आवाज को क्यों दबाया जा रहा है? भारत के पार्टीशन के ऊपर जो फिल्म बनी है क्यों दबाया जा रहा है? आज 16 अगस्त डायरेक्ट एक्शन डे है आज, और आज के दिन यहाँ पे हमारी आवाज को सप्रेस किया गया है। इसका सवाल इनसे पूछिए।
However, Kolkata police has stated that no formal permission for the event had been filed. Agnihotri has claimed that several FIRs have been filed against him and even started a petition to the President of India to ensure a hassle-free release of the film in Bengal. I mean, given the ploys, what would you say? Another victim card at play.
Since their films are aesthetically poor, narratively unattractive, and is a biased, historically biased. So they need to create certain sensation. The sensation will bring the audience to them. They don't have a star like Shah Rukh Khan. They don't have a mind-blogging narrative of Anurag Kashyap. They can't write a script like Anurag Basu, intriguing script like Anurag Basu. So their films are basically second grade, third grade films, right? So how can you make a third grade film, to be watched by a large number of the audience? Only thing is that if you can create some sensation, people out of curiosity will go and watch their films.
Here's a punchy reality check. Agnihotri's film thrive on controversy, and this victimhood narrative helps generate a massive pre-release buzz. Critics argue that this is little more than sensationalism fueling the filmmaker's success. Meanwhile, the family of Gopal Chandra Mukherjee has stated that neither Agnihotri nor his team contacted them during the research, raising concerns about the authenticity of facts being presented. While Agnihotri insists that his production house employs a full-time research team, critics remain unconvinced. Here rises the question of accurate research required in the while working with such volatile periods of history.
While making a historical film, a filmmaker and his or her team, must research rigorously regarding the facts, because historians of different school of thought, historians of different stand, they produce the same narrative in their different way, in different ways, in their own ways. So a filmmaker should do one thing, that she should be factually correct at least. The interpretations can differ, but a filmmaker must have factual correctness in her text.
The timing of the Bengal Files set to release just months ahead of the 2026 West Bengal Assembly elections has intensified criticism that the film serves as a vehicle for electoral polarization. The Bharatiya Janata Party has openly backed Agnihotri, seeing the film as an opportunity to spotlight on historical injustices against Hindus and challenge the ruling Trinamool Congress government's alleged suppression of uncomfortable truths.
This whole conversation that there are two constitutions, it's the Muslim League which is running the show here. It's kind of, and the events in Bangladesh also have had an impact. So it is all meant to be a package which is designed to sort of arouse, provoke an emotional reaction. The emotional reaction is what the BJP is hoping it can cash in on to ride to victory by defeating Mamata Banerjee. I, as a Bengali, have never heard the usage Bengal Asmita. This is what Mr. Modi said. Yeah. To my ears have heard and are familiar with, and I am, as a person, am comfortable with the way in which Bengalis describe their own pride, which is Oitijjo and Sanskriti, which is, in other words, heritage and culture. Bengali Asmita is a political coinage. There is no such coinage in the history of Bengal for decades that I have been a reporter. I know Oposanskriti and I know Bangali Oitijjo. I don't know this Asmita business. Number one. Number two is this Gopal Pata narrative is actually overtaking the Bangladeshi language narrative. In other words, one is trying to cover up the other. Sorry, but that's not how it works. My language, the umbilical cord, because that is how it was described, Matri Bhasha, cannot be overshadowed by a tiny little player on the scene in 1946. He was not the principal player. He did not defend all the women, all the families who were massacred by the Muslims in 1946. He was a little goon in a tiny part of Calcutta where the intensity of the violence was about the greatest. Nothing more than that. He was not there in Noakhali. He was not there in other parts of the city. He was just one man in a little locality where, as I said, Jyoti Babu is on record about how he had to go in and try and rescue people who were holed up in a messbari in Shialda because they were being attacked. And these are real stories narrated by people who are responsible for what they say. And therefore, if you ask me, Gopal Pata is just the story the BJP needs to cover up the mess that it has made of the Bangladeshi language issue. It's one more tactical move. Kashmir Files didn't cut it. With the mainstream media or otherwise, it didn't cut it. Because it did not have the necessary impact it should have had, given the hype. With the Prime Minister endorsing it and special showings and all that stuff. It didn't work in terms of winning the BJP the election in Kashmir. So what do I make of it? I'll wait and see what happens with the Kerala Files and the Bengal Files.
In the end, the Bengal Files stands at the fraught crossroads of cinema, politics and historical memory, raising urgent questions about the filmmaker's responsibility when representing the past. As the boundaries between creative storytelling and ideological messaging blurs, the controversy surrounding Vivek Agnihotri's work reflects deeper anxieties about distortion, polarization, and commodification of victimhood. Whether the film is a sincere attempt to shed light on the suppressed history or a calculated vehicle for propaganda is something we will only truly know when it releases on 5th September. Until then, one can only hope that its arrival does not further inflame communal tensions or deepen existing divides. Thank you so much.